Availability, flexibility, time and cost saving. These are the key words from the following presentation. Felix Goeb will now show you how you can support your customers with remote diagnostics. And from my point of view, that's a strong support, because with remote diagnostics, we can make the unexpected obviously. And that would make me, if I was a customer, sleep much better. So welcome, Felix. We are pleased to learn more about remote diagnostics.
Thank you very much, Sabine. Warm welcome from my side as well to the Siemens Machine Tool Days. Remote diagnostics, digital services, that's nothing new for you. You're the experts. You're the experts in that field. You already use that one and you are aware of this one in your daily life. So let me provide you with a certain gift in this session. Like, I'm pretty sure that after this session, you will have all the tools, impulses, and new innovations on the hand to actually digitalize your services remotely in the field out there for your customers. So let's come to the actual question. Why digitalization? Why right now? And how does this help you? And how can we support you in this regards? So looking at the main line, time is money. I think everyone heard of that one, everyone is aware. So let us help you with exactly these points with your customers in your service ambitions. Analytics on a machine without having the insights on the machine itself, quite hard, taking up time. And what we need especially is then additional information to provide our customers the best service. That's the point where we are jumping in. Your service portfolio can then be enhanced by our services, by more insights on the machine. You have a better reaction time towards the customer. And in addition to that one, when you look at your resources, they are always quite costly, as well as they are limited to one customer, or you can just send one service operator to one customer at a time. With our tools, you can serve multiple customers on a day. So looking into the expenditures that you for sure get once you send out a service technician from your department. You have the salary of that one, you have the travel expenditures, you have the car he's driving, but most costly is actually the time. The time he's spending at a customer, coming to the customer, getting over there. So that's where we're starting with our apps to support you in these regards. Your service technician can only be in one time at a place, but he can be remotely be at multiple places during the day. That's where our remote service is best, in a best manner, supporting you to provide those services. A service team, a service member from your department who is proactively informed by our system can pretty much faster react on any observation on a machine that happened, for example, machine alarms, tool breakage, whatever might be caused by the customer side. You can actually then jump in as the system is proactively informing you, and you're having a quicker resolution of the issue at the customer in place, which pretty much increases your customer satisfaction on your services. But where do we actually start? We're supporting you firsthand by the actual sales of the machine already there. Before you bring it up to the customer, you can enhance with our portfolio your services around the machine. You can bring them up to the customer, and that can be your differentiation point between you and the other OEMs in the digital field and services around that one. Going one step further, taking the machine into the warranty, it's already installed at the customer facility, so taking that one over there, you're going and showing it up with a low profile in terms of cost. You can easily, with remote diagnostic tools, enhance your services at the customer with a lower price range and bring it up to the customer to get the resolution there. Taking that a step further, the services beyond the warranty case. That's the big market where we see where you can enhance your services for the very moment. There are two phases. The one is the cost reduction in supporting the customer, as well as gaining some revenue growth. by new services, new possibilities to actually get over there and support your customers, maybe beyond services that you were not thinking of today. But after this session, for sure. So taking all those three phases over the machine lifetime, we can support you with our applications. But let us get more concrete in that actual use case where an operator is working with the machine continuously. There's no obstacle for the very moment. And we can support you in this case as well, as our customer service provided a certain trigger point in the machine to actually observe that, for example, a runtime counter, like in our example, hit in and led to the situation that we identified that a spindle check is required. So therefore, we're having this machine connected to our tool, Manage My Machines. With that one, we're having the chance to observe the machine in its current condition, on their alarms, the machine status, as well as in which operation mode the NC is running. So you get here dedicated information about the entire machine lifetime, about the current status, as well as the recent behavior of that one, as well as you know whether the machine is currently in production, it's still standing, or in operation. So looking into that, we're having more details on the actual machine alarms, going there deeper with some analytics on statistics, as well as like jumping into the detail lists of a certain alarm which arose on the machine in history. We're getting here the full details whenever an alarm happened, if it's during the weekend or somewhere else, as well as we're getting the actual HMI text of the alarm, so everyone who's aware can then identify which day the machine was, what caused this issue, and what do we expect from that. Jumping over to the monitoring of a machine. You have next to the alarms certain conditions that you need to analyze, as well as in Manage My Machines, we're having the chance to observe single parameters that we can easily configure to have them linked and mapped into MindSphere. So we can, with one click, easily observe in which state the machine was, whether it was up and running, or if we had additional changes during the production time that were critical or had some thresholds reached within the productivity. As everything looks good for this machine, the only observation that we have is the trigger that was mentioned beforehand. To identify those machines, we inserted a global map view, which helps you to identify all your customers, all the connected assets within the entire customer field that you have, to reach out to those whenever they are having a certain issue, or the customer just needs an additional information on that one. So we added about the trigger point. The trigger point that we set up was for a runtime counter. This one can easily be identified in the application as itself, as well as we're providing that service, as the service technician is not always looking up in the system, in our tooling via an email notification that he can easily receive on his smartphone to identify whether a customer needs a certain use case or service case. So getting from this point one step further, why do we need those tests? We do this test as of quality assurance and optimal condition on the machine to see whether a service case might be required in future, or if there's some interferences, for example, on the tooling already, or maybe on the workpiece. So before this actually happens, we're having here right now the chance, as we got the trigger point, to set up a certain test. The test parameters can easily be entered and defined, so we are aware of the machine. Especially for this machine, we can identify then in which frame the test should be performed. And later on, we're having the identification within the continuous monitoring on this test, whether a test was successful, whether we're running in the thresholds as expected, or if we're running out of that one. So easily to identify, and whenever something happens, we can, in a very early stage, already inform our customers about the impact that might be in place for this machine and do a planned maintenance rather than an unplanned maintenance, which is always pretty much more costly than the planned one. So our service technician right now prepared the tool the test program and is getting in touch with the operator in front. He's explaining what he will do right now, as the operator itself does not really come with the necessary access rights on the machine. We will now start a remote session with that operator. The operator is actually supporting here the service guy to grant him the access, as this is always a bidirectional guarantee that not something is interfering, as well as we are now selecting the respective machine from the service technician. We're trying to establish the actual session on the machine recording. This one in Manage My Machines Remote is established as well as recorded in the background. So you have always a session logging on the actual session that happened. In warranty cases as well out of warranty cases, that's always good to know what happened on the machine, who was working with that machine and who was involved. As you can see right now, we are already logged into the machine. The operator granted us the access, and we are now checking on the machine firsthand the access rights, setting the respective password to have the full access on the machine on the service level to provide here the service to the customer. While doing so, jumping in there, the access to the edge, we're having over the edge configured our program for the Analyze My Machine condition, where we installed the test. That one will now be selected as an additional drive to load this data, to load the program, get it available in there. So we can then, in place on the machine itself, perform this action. Every preparation step until then was done remotely. No need or no interference for the actual production, which helps us quite a lot to keep the production up and running, while we are always in preparation phases and performing the quality checks in the background. The program is right now selected. We can actually upload it. The operator is checking in front of the machine whether the inner room is free. No one is interfering with that system, as well as we are now able to enroll the overrides to give them free to activate the spindle and the access to actually perform that test. The NC start is then performed by the operator to actually execute that program. That one is now running in the background while the service technician can review the actual status over the HMI screen sharing. The program that's been executed is specially configured for this machine, and the result will later on be displayed on one hand on the HMI, as well as in a further step in cloud in our system to really review the states and make the history of those states available to compare a certain trend if something changed on the axis, in the interference with the machine, if there's some vibration available or additional elements. And coming to the Analyze My Machine condition, where we have multiple tests for you available, so you can check with the axis, you can do a quadrant error test, you can do a friction test, you can jump into the backlash tests as well, to have really a complete picture on the machine, whether it is properly operating, whether there are some interferences or there are some changes during the lifetime of the machine, where you can right now jump into and support your customer to get that one in the best condition as possible. So, having this one in place, having the tests running, we performed right now the test is completed, and our result, as we can see perfectly, everything is good. We have a green thumb up. So what does this literally mean for us? There's no change in the thresholds that we would like to reach. We can easily observe how the machine is being operated. The operator itself does right now have the chance to continue his production. The service guy is logging out of the system, getting ready to hand over the machine again to the operator. We had right now a very minor point of time that we used up by the operator to ensure the quality of the machine, to ensure the stiffness, to be aware that the machine is still in a good condition, that we can produce the parts that we would like to do without any after work to run a second time the program. So we're in a good state. The service technician is handing over the machine again and quitting the session. They're finalizing their call, and the operator itself can now load the program again, turn on the overrides, and start production. And it's a very small impact on the production for a second. That one is pretty much an identification on the quality on the tool, as well as the entire machine, which helps us to enroll the overall lifetime of the machine to keep it up and running in a high quality. So high quality, high production, very important for everyone, but most likely for production planners, and therefore we got another tool. That one might be an interest of you or even though your customers, which can then easily observe whether a machine is in a good operational mode, whether it's really in use, are there some possibilities to enhance the productivity, or do you see additional threats where something can be enrolled in terms of more pieces can be produced? Do we need an additional shift? Or you can actually reduce your production costs by saving more machines in operation. Right now, we're selecting a defined time frame, custom defined time frame, to observe whether a machine was properly in operation. As we can see, there are some deviations in terms of the planned state versus the actual state in our tool. The Analyze My Performance OE monitor gives you multiple indications on the performance, whether the machine was running in an optimal case or it was a low-performing machine. We're having multiple indicators like KPIs on performance, on availability to serve you with all the necessary information. In the app itself, we're having the option to plan the productivity of a machine and to go further beyond that one, to observe the production parts that were actually created on this one. Let me summarize for you what actually was in there and how this can help you with the further process. We had the machine transparency, which gives you a big hint on the long-term monitoring for the machines, on the alarms, on the log files that are possible to be uploaded, as well the machine states. And you get a proactive notification from the system if something changes, if a threshold is reached, or you have a certain identification. On the machine availability, we got the machine Manage My Machines remote, like to get there and access to the machine without being on site, actually seeing the HMI. Beyond that one, we're having the chance to reach out to the PLC as well, which gives us a huge differentiation point to other competitors. Machine analytics, I've shown you in one use case how you can use that one. There are multiple available that we can provide for the machine health condition analysis, as well as interpretation to get a real status about the machine, about its health condition. Machine productivity has been represented over Analyze My Performance OE monitor to observe whether the machine is in production, how is it running, like which insights do you have on the actual outcome of the machine. So this one will be quite interesting for your customers, and it's good that you might have it in your portfolio versus your competitors to show it up in your service providers. What benefits do we actually gain from that help you to grow your services remotely? We have a higher transparency on the machine. We have the insights. We know where we're standing with the machine in the production. We do not only rely on what we can see in the very moment. We have a higher flexibility in reaching out to the customer. We have a quicker resolution with the customer on its problems, as we have all those insights available. If it's the alarms, if it's some condition, or something that we monitor over the lifetime as a long-term element. New services and methods are for you now given with those tools to improve the productivity on the machine, positively for the customer, as well as for you to get more insights on your machines that you have out there in the field at your customers, which can then actually help you as well to maybe redesign a machine to see where the weak points, to identify those ones. And I'm pretty sure your design guys are pretty happy for all those insights. So let me say, with all those impulses and new insights, your digital future is ensured, and you can go beyond that one and drive your services into the next level.
Thank you very much, Felix, for these deep insights into the possibilities of remote diagnostics.